much. That's really well done. Look at this. This is so cool. Oh man. Oh, this is like. Hey, Tom McKay brought some old school original D&D dice, the kind where you had to fill in the numbers.
Yeah.
Like crayon or paint or whatever.
Yeah.
However, we apparently had the foresight to file down the four-sider. Yeah, that's fantastic. And the original four-siders, we called them the Caltrops.
Yeah.
Because they came to a very definitive point, which you discovered after the third or fourth puncture wound. It's so cool. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Well, tell Tom thank you very much. That's awesome. And that is glorious. Look at it. Oh, what? What are you guys doing? Yeah, that's kind of badass. Got some Core the Immortal, got some Yusuke. Got me looking all leisurely against Masada character. And apparently I had a little gas.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. It's Hong Kong? That's a... What? And so, do you know the artist? Tom, thank you so much. Send all that back to Hong Kong. All of us, communally.
Yeah.
And little Shimigami Tensei love here as well.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Got some Walter going on. Who made this one? You're just pulling everyone from all over the world. Pass on our love to Vancouver as well. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. I think we're about panel time to begin. Okay, what time is it?
6:02.
Sassy pants.
That joke works up until about 2007.
And that's why it's funny. Yes.
Well done. Alrighty. No, totally piss off the DM. Because then you watch what happens after.
Wait till he flies.
Exactly. Are we good? We set? We're not listening. We're good. All right. So, everyone. Hi. Hi. Oh yes. There we go. And we're off. Welcome to the Critical Role panel, talking about tabletop renaissance, gaming, and general nerdy things. Anything that fits in that category. But yes. My name is Matthew Mercer. I'm a voice actor and lifelong indoor kid. Happy to be here for my second SakuraCon. It's been about 3 years for me, so I'm happy to be back. Thank you very much for having me. So, I guess first and foremost, because this is a fun question, raise your hand if you have not seen Critical Role. You're going to be very confused. That's okay, because that's part of the fun. I've been running the game for nearly 100 episodes, and I'm still generally pretty confused. So we're all in the same boat, it's fine. It's true. Critical Role is a Twitch stream that me and a bunch of my voice actor friends who started playing D&D years ago, one of the campaign that we were running for a bunch of the newbies at the time. About 2 years into the game, we had the opportunity to stream it on Twitch. And our first instinct was, no. That sounds like a terrible idea. But we figured we'd give it a shot, partially because some of our party members had kids, and it was hard for us to schedule. But if it became work, then we could schedule to play more often. And I was getting sick of having to, like, every 6 to 8 weeks we'd play, and then show up and be like, wait, what was happening? I'd be like, all right, guys, last time. Then spend 10 minutes trying to get up to speed. So that was nice. But we started just streaming it amongst all of our technical issues and sound issues, and everyone still stuck around, and the community just grew and swelled, and my love of tabletop gaming began to not just expand into my immediate friend circle, but we had the pleasure of introducing it to a whole new audience, and reintroduce it to people that loved it a long time ago and hadn't had the opportunity to kind of re-engage with it. And people who still have been playing their whole life like I have, who now have found another community that was either just discovering it or happy to appreciate it once more in the light. tabletop gaming for a long time kind of had this bad rap as being, well, Satan, or just not being, you know, as mainstay in the current kind of pop culture zeitgeist as video gaming is and things like that, which is interesting when you consider that so much of video games, let alone RPG video games, are almost wholly inspired at the beginning, at the inception, from what Dungeons and Dragons provided in the 70s, and Gary Gygax and Chainmail, and that whole era that turned into tabletop gaming. So it's been really cool to be just a part of this wonderful culture of people that are, you know, making a kind of resurgence. The communities that you guys have created and spread your own, so that have brought it to the forefront again. And now, where once upon a time I'd have to drop a D20 reference in the middle of a social, you know, gathering and then feel really awkward but nobody got it and just see myself out. Now, maybe one person will get it, and that's a lot to me. That's a lot. So anyway, that's just the show. We're going to try our best to avoid major spoilers in our discussions here. And I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll start having a Q&A. I'll begin calling people in the audience, so be respectful when I ask you to raise your hand. Don't shout or yell or throw things. That's my job. But yeah, so yeah, D&D for me, and role-playing games in general. There's a lot of wonderful experiences you can have with your various hobbies, whether it be painting, you know, building costumes, building models, building furniture, you know, collections. There's so many ways of expressing your passions and interests, and when I was introduced to role-playing games, it tapped into an element of my love for the theatrical, of the drama, of the performing arts element of also having a fantasy story. I was the kind of kid that grew up reading Tolkien and reading Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke, and you know, I had very heavy fantasy, sci-fi influences in most of my media that I consumed. And when I say indoor kid, I mean I didn't go outside. I just read and played video games. That's all I did. I'm learning how football works now. Like Travis and Marisha have taught me there's like a line of scrimmage and there's like downs and things. I've watched a couple games and been like, okay, there's a ball. Yeah, which apparently can be deflated. See, you all laugh. I still don't know what that means. It's crazy. I'm trying to learn. But exactly, what is ball? But yeah, so like for me, it was one of the first gaming experiences I've had outside of like old school LAN gaming, where me and a bunch of friends could get together for a weekend and just play together. But it's one thing to play something together, something to create together, and the idea, the experience of a community on a small or larger scale, creating together, collaborating on building a story, building a narrative, building an experience, is unmatched to this day in my opinion. I go walk into my Vive headset and be like, oh my god, this is the future! We have virtual reality! And then I go play D&D and be like, but it will never quite catch up to that. To me, that there's something so like primal and harkening back to our early days of man, of being tribes of families that would sit around the campfire and tell stories of heroes and myths that would inspire the next generation to be better people. You know, that would eventually become pantheons of gods and different religious and society backgrounds. And today, D&D is just a very similar experience like that, and it builds culture, it builds family, it builds connection, and memories. To this day, whenever I meet any of my old gaming friends, we talk about part of our campaign. We don't say, remember that time that your cleric went and saved his character? You're like, remember that time that you rushed in and picked me up from the ground as I was bleeding out, and then you got the final blow? It's you and me, because we're experiencing that. We remember it as viscerally as if we were there in person. And so that camaraderie that you experience, the loss that you experience together, the victory you experience together is very real. Those experiences, I think, on a subconscious level, improve us as a people. And so I owe a lot of who I am today and the people that I keep around me to role-playing games, to Dungeons and Dragons, to even Riffs, to a certain extent, GURPS, all that fun stuff. I owe so much to that. And so for me, it's been a really exciting, extremely exciting experience to be able to talk about this in a room with you people that have filled a room to have me talk about D&D and Riffs and what it means to me. That's crazy! Are you kidding me? Like that I would never have expected. So I guess first and foremost, thank you guys for having an interest in coming along on our crazy adventure that we do week to week, and making your own. And that's kind of the cool thing about it too. There are very few forms of media that empowers you, the viewer, the consumer, to then go and create it yourself without needing to have a large amount of equipment or a large amount of training or a large amount of experience. Role-playing games is something that you can watch and be inspired by, then get together with other friends, and then have an equally epic experience that is wholly unique to you at the table at that time. And nobody else can replicate it or say that they have it, because they had their own unique experience. And that's magical. It's a wonderful gift. And it's so cool, and I feel like a proud papa whenever any one of you guys sends a picture of your gaming group at a library or in somebody's living room or families playing together. You know, I'm a big proponent for family game night. It was very important to me when I was growing up. And I think family units culturally today, there's a struggle to try and find ways to engage children and parents in a place, especially in those very, very important teenage years when, you know, nobody understands you. And I think gaming in general is just such a beautiful cross-section of interests where it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter your cultural background, your religious background, everyone is there to enjoy this and create together, and all that melts away. And that can close that family rift. And so whenever I see families gaming their parents with their children, not only is it a cultural gift of what they grew up with in the 70s and 80s and, you know, experience they can now pass on and enjoy with their children, but they're also now giving that experience to their kids and pass on to the next generation, and so on and so on. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I'm only a little passionate about this if you haven't noticed. But yeah, so I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited that we had the opportunity to share our little slice of imagination with you guys, and then you, in turn, share yours back with us. So thank you for that, sincerely. So, that being the case, I've talked enough at you for a moment. I want to now turn this into a conversation. I want to start asking people what questions you have in your mind, whether they pertain to our game, pertain to how to run a game, pertain to just ideas you might have about gaming culture in general, where it's been, where it's going. There is really no holds barred here except for, don't ask me how to become a voice actor. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow morning on the cartoon voiceover panel. So today it's going to be primarily about super, super deep cut, nerdy D&D stuff. I just looked around and realized there might be some younger people in the audience. My apologies. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. You know what? If you could get a center mic set up, that would be amazing. All right, so if you have a question, calmly and slowly, start making your way to form a line right here in the center walkway, and we'll have a microphone here set up in just a moment.
I got one.